Welcome to Matchpack, your guide to all the facts and figures ahead of the weekend's Premier League fixtures. We're up to 290 goals for the season, and with Manchester United adding another 3 at Southampton, they now have 13 from their 4 away games. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side travelled to West Ham on Saturday. Liverpool, less fortunate last time out, fell to a 93rd minute equaliser at Brighton. Can the champions return to winning ways against Wolves? Just ahead of the Reds at the summit are Spurs. Their plus 12 goal difference means they're top, with the North London derby the next test.
It's been a long time coming, but this weekend we'll see supporters return to some stadiums across England. London is one part of the country where a small number of fans are permitted to attend games. The timing is perfect, as the capital stages quite a contest this weekend, a North London derby between Spurs and Arsenal.
Bellerin and Ramsey! The Gunners go ahead at Tottenham!
They're very fortunate, them fans, to be able to get in there. And yes, it's going to be 2,000 in that massive 60,000 stadium. It might seem like nothing, but it will be unbelievable for the players. And I'm pleased that that's starting to happen, and hopefully soon it will be even more.
After 9 months away, those lucky few will return in person to see a Tottenham team at the top of the table, taking on their arch rivals. And in terms of league position, Spurs have never had a bigger advantage over the Gunners than the current 13 places between them going into this Sunday's clash. Arsenal may still boast the better overall head-to-head record in the Premier League era, but the pendulum has swung Spurs' way in recent seasons, especially on home soil. Tottenham are now unbeaten in 6 consecutive home meetings against their neighbours, their longest such run since January 1968. And it's a record their current manager will be equally keen to continue. Jose Mourinho has never lost a home game against Arsenal at any of his 3 Premier League clubs, winning 6 and drawing 4 of his 10 matches to date.
You know, in his first tenure, it was Robben, Cole and Drogba who they used to cause us all sorts of problems. He knows how to play against an Arsenal side. He knows that you can soak up that pressure, and if it's not quite working, you can get through them and you can counter-attack them. And it's the same now.
Lamella's delivery, flicked on, good save of Spina, but put into the net by Harry Kane.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane!
This is a fixture Harry Kane has made his own. He's the joint top scorer in all competitions, but out in front for North London derby goals in the Premier League. He did, though, miss training this week with an injury Jose Mourinho refused to specify, although he reassured Spurs fans there was a good chance he'd be fit for Sunday. Kane already has 7 league goals this term, but he's been outscored so far by Son Heung-min. The South Korean's 9 goals is only 1 shy of the entire Arsenal team's total this season. Even the normally reliable Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang only has 2, and none from open play in the league since the opening weekend.
You really can't blame him for not getting chances. It's not up to him. He's there to finish them, and we've seen that he can do that very, very well. But you just have to hope that the creativity from midfield to the forwards gets better, because at the moment, you know, from the forwards' point of view, it's not happening for them.
Traore, great cross in, and Dendoncker hits the bar, and Neto scores. Willian to get this one in, and there's the equaliser. Podence might have a chance, and he scores. Wolves 2-1 up here. Few alarm bells ringing for the Gunners and for Mikel Arteta.
Defeat at home to Wolves means this is now Arsenal's worst ever start to a season after 10 games. Just 13 points leaves them 14th in the table. Only the bottom 3 have scored fewer goals, and they're closer to the relegation zone than they are to their great rivals at the top of the league. But the cliché of form rarely mattering in derby games is a cliché for a reason. They are notoriously unpredictable. Spurs have dropped an astonishing 42 points against Arsenal throughout Premier League history, more than any other side has thrown away against a single opponent.
Like I say, they're not creating enough chances for our main man to score. So you have to say, with Spurs and their free scoring vibe at the minute, you have to fancy them as favourites. But I'm still gonna go with Arsenal to beat them 3-2.
Hello, I'm Duncan Alexander from Opta Joe, and with the big match coming up at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this weekend, I'm here to look at some of the numbers around Spurs against Arsenal. Tottenham are currently unbeaten in their last 6 home matches against Arsenal in the league, their longest home run without a defeat against them since the moon landings.
Tottenham in front through one of their own.
The North London derby is usually a guarantee of entertainment, and this is backed up by the fact that the team scoring the first goal in Premier League games between them has gone on to lose in 27 of the 51 matches.
Better and better for Arsenal.
Games between these sides in the Premier League have seen 159 goals, and that's only 7 behind the highest scoring fixture in Premier League history, which is games between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Oh, what a shot! That's extraordinary!
This fixture at White Hart Lane in 2004 remains the only Premier League game to ever see 9 different players score. Noureddine Naibet made it 1-0. Arsenal replied with goals from Henry, Lauren and Vieira to make it 3-1. Then Jermaine Defoe pulled one back, Freddie Ljungberg made it 4-2, Ledley King made it 4-3, Robert Pires put Arsenal 5-3 up before Frederic Canute made it 5-4.
Can you believe this?
By winning this game, Jose Mourinho can become the first Tottenham boss to win his first 2 matches against Arsenal since the 1950s. And finally, Harry Kane has scored 10 goals against Arsenal in all competitions. If he scores in this game, he'll become the all-time top-scoring player in North London derby history.
Catch him if you can!
Across the capital, 2 great historical rather than local rivals meet as Chelsea face Leeds. After some leaky displays, Marcelo Bielsa's side have tightened up with successive shutouts, and after edging out Everton, the Whites' winless run is over. Frank Lampard's side kept Spurs at bay in their last league match, but were unable to make a breakthrough. Their total minutes leading and trailing remain as they were, and despite only being 5 points better off than Leeds, Chelsea have been in front exactly 3 times as long. But despite those slightly unfavourable numbers, Leeds have impressed. At Everton last time out, they had 13 shots in the first half alone, the joint most in any Premier League half this season. But they kept attacking from all angles, as they have so frequently this year got their reward.
Harrison. Rafinha! Oh, it's a beauty! Finally, Leeds United have their way!
After playing a number of midfield roles in recent seasons, N'Golo Kanté is back doing what he does best. And not only is he in a familiar position on the pitch, he's in a familiar position statistically too, making more interceptions than any player this term. Historically, this is perhaps one of the Premier League's most even matchups. 24 previous meetings at either Stamford Bridge or Elland Road have produced 8 wins for Chelsea, 8 wins for Leeds and 8 draws. An entertaining clash in January 2003 saw the Blues edge the Whites 3-2. Given both teams' form, goals seem guaranteed again. Can either sneak ahead in their head-to-head with a win this weekend?
Good delivery towards the back post, and it's in from Ogbonna. Grealish gets in, look at that! And now, here is one of the new men up front, Benrahma. That's a good ball in and a flick, and they've done it again!
Another week and another win for West Ham. They now have 3 victories in a row for the first time since May 2019 and are sitting pretty in 5th position. The Hammers are in fine form and nobody will be more pleased than their manager.
I think David Moyes will be happy with his team. I think he'll be happy with the application, some of the football they're playing. They do tend to switch off just a little bit concentration-wise, hence conceding a few goals. But all in all, I'm pretty sure Mr Moyes will be happy with his West Ham players and where they are so far this season.
Due to the congested nature of the table, David Moyes' men are just 4 points behind leaders Spurs. There's still a long road ahead, but Moyes' win percentage of 50 is also his joint highest in a campaign during his Premier League career. Despite giving away a penalty on Monday, Declan Rice has been at the forefront of West Ham's success this season, with his commanding performances from midfield. He leads by example in a number of important statistics.
He seems to be adding to his game. The more pressure he's put under, Declan Rice, the better he seems to play. So the sky is the limit for that young man, and I think he'll play a lot for England.
Cavani has got Bruno Fernandes in. Cavani with the equalising goal. In from Rashford, Cavani! He's done it again! And the comeback kings do it again!
After that stellar second-half performance, Manchester United's turnaround at Southampton means they've now gained 12 points from losing positions this season. It was also a club record 8th straight Premier League away win, but is there more to come from Solskjaer's men?
I still think they're in like third gear. They're going through the gears. I'm sure that Ollie is starting to have a bit of a wry smile on his face. The players are starting to react to what he wants them to do and how he wants them to play.
Wednesday's loss against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League is one of many disheartening results at Old Trafford this season. Away from home, though, it's been a different story. The Red Devils have won 7 out of 8 in all competitions, scoring an impressive 22 goals in the process. And key to that run has been a certain Portuguese midfielder.
Fernandes, Rashford!
Rashford back to Bruno Fernandes.
Since his arrival in January of this year, it's hard to find the words to describe Bruno Fernandes' impact at Manchester United. Incredibly, the 26-year-old is averaging a goal involvement every 78 minutes. It's still early days, but that's the best rate of anyone to have played a minimum of 23 games in Premier League history.
I've never known a Premier League player to come in and fit in so well at such a big club. Possibly go back to Eric Cantona. I think when he went to Man United, he just slotted in as well. So a similar kind of effect. Fearless, scores goals, makes things happen.
Yarmolenko gets the shot in and scores. Brilliantly taken from Aaron Cresswell.
That victory last season means the Hammers are unbeaten in their last 3 home games against the Red Devils. A nice confidence boost, but can they stop a Manchester United side who have revelled on their travels so far?
This will be another close game, it really will be. I don't like sitting on the fence, so I'm not going to, and I think on this occasion Man United will win the game.
Burnley's 5-0 thumping at Manchester City last weekend means they've now lost 7 of their last 10 league games. A stark contrast to their previous 15 matches, where they were beaten only once.
Foden. That's hung up for Mahrez, who claims his hat-trick.
For Burnley, it's a difficult afternoon with still another 20 minutes to go.
Everton lost by a single goal to Leeds last weekend, but it could so easily have been more. They faced more shots against Marcelo Bielsa's side than in any of their other matches this season.
Harrison. Rafinha! Oh, it's a beauty! They have beaten at Everton's door, and finally Rafinha crashes it down.
With United in the capital, Fulham travel in the opposite direction to Manchester. City's last league outing saw them deliver their most dominant display of the season so far, blitzing Burnley by 5-0. But Scott Parker's side also entered the weekend off the back of a win after they shocked Leicester. The Cottagers hit the front after half an hour, doubled their advantage before the break and never relented. The 60 minutes they spent ahead nearly doubled the total time they've led this season. City were even more comfortable last time out, a Riyad Mahrez hat-trick central to that success over Burnley. Despite the Algerian's contribution from his position wide on the right, the majority of the team's attacks were on the opposite side.
Phil Foden just on as a substitute with the perfect setup.
Replacing a Premier League all-time great is no easy task, but Phil Foden is stepping out of the departed David Silva's shadow. As well as setting up that goal for Mahrez, he scored twice in the league himself this season. According to the two sides' historical record against each other, it's hard to look beyond a home win. City dominate the head-to-head and have won each of the last 7 league meetings, a sequence that started in 2012. Fulham haven't even managed so much as a goal from their last 4 trips to the Etihad, with their most recent visit 2 years ago ending in a 3-0 defeat.
Time for our quiz question. After Man City put another 5 goals past Burnley last weekend, can you name the team with the most Premier League goals against a single opponent? The answer's coming up later in the show.
Salah flicking it on, what a chance this is, and it's in! It's Diogo Jota again! Gross against Alisson, it is 1-1!
The emotion at full-time last weekend may have been one of frustration for Liverpool, but their marquee summer signing Diogo Jota took his tally to 5 Premier League goals this term. There were no guarantees of first-team football despite his hefty price tag, but the pressures of the season gave him his chance, and now Jurgen Klopp has formidable strength in depth going forward.
You think of that front three was how it was spoken about for Liverpool last year, you know, that even the best players in the world, you know, people was talking about, you know, probably won't be able to break into that front three. I think, you know, he's come in, he's bided his time, and when he's come on as a sub, he's impacted games, and now, you know, reaping the rewards of being able to start and getting goals. He's a fantastic player.
Liverpool's injury woes are well documented, and the knock-on effect may be their first half defensive record. 65% of the goals the Reds have conceded have come in the opening period, something for which Klopp needs to find solutions.
If we look back at how successful they were last year and how few goals they conceded, probably the consistency throughout the squad and the back four certainly remained the same throughout pretty much the whole season. I think, you know, injuries have hit them this season. I think an inconsistent back line, probably a little bit slow to start games, and they're probably conceding early in games, whereas in the second half they're probably more settled as a back line and, you know, less likely to concede.
Wolves' win at Arsenal was marred by a nasty injury to Raúl Jiménez, who has since undergone surgery on a fractured skull. But the team emerged from the Emirates with all 3 points, thanks to goals from Pedro Neto and Daniel Podence. That took Wolves to 17 points for the season, their best ever return after 10 Premier League games. Captain Conor Coady also returned after a rare absence in match week 9. Those results and his presence is no coincidence.
Conor Coady has been so important and valuable within that team for them. You know, the leadership skills within the team, I think you can see that. I think getting into the England squad now has been massive for him and a boost in confidence. He's seen his performance and what it meant to play for England. I think he demonstrates that every week as a Wolves player and what it means to defend. So that determination and hunger to want to win games, I think he shows that week in, week out, and an unbelievable player.
Adama Traoré has also returned to the Wolves starting lineup of late, and it's clear to see why. Despite his sometimes limited involvement, the Spaniard has completed more dribbles than any other player this season. The injury problems for Liverpool show no signs of abating. Now their goalkeeper looks set to miss out with a hamstring problem, Kevin Kelleher deputising impressively in Europe in midweek. Alisson and Wolves counterpart Rui Patricio have been 2 of the best in the division, but both are currently recording their lowest save percentages since their arrivals.
Good movement inside that penalty area and a brilliant header. Traoré, first time ball in for Jimenez. Firmino.
Liverpool's victory back in January was the 9th time they've beaten Wolves in the Premier League. In fact, of the 12 PL meetings between the sides, Wolves have come away victorious just once. Nuno Espirito Santo's men have it all to do this weekend.
Liverpool got great momentum. Anfield at the minute is a fear for any team going, so if Wolves can get over that mental block of 64 unbeaten at Anfield, and Liverpool start slow, and Wolves, if they can have a fast start, if they can have, you know, a really quick start with that, you know, rigid back line at the minute in terms of players in and out, then I'm sure they can get a result.
Brighton, buoyed by that slightly unexpected point against Liverpool, play host to Southampton on Monday night. The Saints travel along the south coast hoping to bounce back following their collapse at home to Manchester United last time out. The hosts' performances this term have often drawn more plaudits than points. Graham Potter's style is now firmly established, and his side have shown a tendency to play slightly more down the right than the left when going forward. They have only found themselves in front for 201 minutes, less than half the amount of time that their opponents have been in winning positions. Despite the recent setback against United, it's been a fine start overall for Ralph Hasenhüttl's side, with one man in particular shining of late.
Here's Ward-Prowse. It's brilliant. He's done it yet again. Few can rival his mastery from that kind of situation.
It's been some start to the campaign for James Ward-Prowse. He's played every minute so far, with 2 assists and 4 goals already. He scored 3 of those from direct free kicks, which is as many as every other player in the competition combined this term. The two sides met in the Premier League for the first time in October 2017, when the points were shared in a 1-1 draw. That set the tone for much of what has followed. The majority of games between the pair have ended all square. Brighton are still searching for their first victory in this fixture, while Southampton have 2 wins, both of which were recorded at the Amex.
West Brom's first win of the season came via Conor Gallagher's long-range effort. The Baggies have now scored a league-high 43% of their goals from outside the penalty area this term.
Pereira's corner low and flat. Falls to Gallagher, struck it well and scores! West Bromwich Albion with an early lead at the Hawthorns, and it's Conor Gallagher.
Crystal Palace, meanwhile, drew another blank last time out. The Eagles have now failed to score in a league-high 45 games since the beginning of the 2017-18 season.
And Eze provides a spark for them. Eze, he's gone for goal. Oh, and he fought a save there from Darbo. From a minimal backlift there, Eze got some power behind that.
Earlier, we asked you to name the team with the most goals against another throughout Premier League history. The answer is Arsenal, who've put a total of 110 past Everton down the years. There have been some big Gunners victories over the Toffees, none greater than in May 2005 when it finished 7-0 at Highbury.
After their shock defeat to Fulham, Leicester will be hoping to get back to winning ways as they visit bottom club Sheffield United. The Foxes ran out 2-0 winners when these teams met at the King Power back in July, and a repeat performance at Bramall Lane would heap pressure on the Blades, who remain winless. A particular concern for Chris Wilder will be his team's lack of goals. They found the back of the net just 4 times in 10 games. In fact, their shot conversion rate of 4.2% is the worst in the division. Leicester have had no such problems in that regard, winning by a 3-goal margin on 3 occasions. But Brendan Rodgers will want to see an improvement at the other end of the pitch. His side have conceded 5 times in just their last 2 games. The Foxes may have ran into a trap at Anfield in their most recent Premier League away game, but overall they have a fine record on the road this season. Only league leaders Spurs have won more points on their travels.
There's one match not taking place this weekend. After Newcastle reported a significant increase of coronavirus cases, it was agreed that their match at Aston Villa would be played at a later date.
Home wins were scarce last weekend. Man City and West Ham both managed to get one, while West Brom's season finally got liftoff. So the postponement at Villa Park means there are 9 games, with Burnley-Everton up first. The 2 Manchester clubs are also in action on Saturday, both against London opposition, with Chelsea against Leeds later that evening. On Sunday, Sheffield United target their first win of the season, and Liverpool welcome Wolves to Anfield. But for the second week running, the marquee match is in the capital. After taking a point from Chelsea, Spurs now face their greatest foes, Arsenal. Last season saw the first ever North London derby at Tottenham's U-Home, and the host prevailed 2-1. That matched the total number of goals in the pairs' meetings at Wembley, only 3 across 2 games. while in the latter years at the old White Hart Lane, the Gunners' memories of success are few and far between. Recent history favours Tottenham, but as we all know, in a derby, anything can happen. From Olivia Bazaglo and me, Danny Jameson, goodbye.